his servants at her hand. And again they said, Hallelujah. And her smoke rose up forever and ever.
Yahawah, Yahawashi,
John chapter 14. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and the way ye know. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and the way ye know. Thomas saith unto him, Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. If ye had known me, ye should have known my Father also, and from henceforth ye know him, and have seen him. Philip saith unto him, Lord, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. Jesus saith unto him, Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. And how sayest thou then, Show us the Father? Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very works' sake. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Nephilim was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin was sealed 12,000. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, and kindreds, and people, and tongues, stood before the throne, and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne, and about the elders, and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshipped God, saying, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our God forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which come out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb, which is in the midst of the throne, shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of water, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes.
Right. Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel. You Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian, Haitians, and the foreign Israelites that look like the other nations scattered across the four corners of the earth. I want to give all praises to Barak, Yahawah, Barak, Yahawashi. Barak, Yahawah, Barak, Yahawashi. Going to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Bahasham, Qadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who led me to this truth. I've been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the elect and to the hopeful elect. Lord, wouldn't be part of that number. Lord, wouldn't us be edifying those who fear the name of the Lord and are striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. His judgment comes to light in Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5. It is not slack, 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. And is unto a ring, 2nd Ezra chapter 5, verse 42. With the water, everybody coming on the common board, Bahasham, Barak, Atham. We're going to get into some topics the Lord wanted me to deal with. One of them I posted on my comment board yesterday, but I want to go a little deeper into it and see what is really going on. China warns U.S. has crossed the red line. We got a super typhoon that's going on over there. I think it's in China. When I looked at the article, there's some bank closures that will be coming this fall. And then plagues. So some plagues and then some various end time topics. So Lord willing is edifying to the flock. Bear with me, give me 1 second. Okay. Give me a sec. Alright. Had a mistype, so fixing that real quick. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get into this. Lord willing, is edifying to the flock. Shalom, Aki, how about Shema, Shabrakatah? It was a beautiful lesson earlier this morning. The water. We'll go ahead and get over here and get started, and let's see what the Lord's doing with these chess pieces. So. Like it says, China warns U.S. has crossed the red line, lethal consequences. So we know it's finna this battle's finna kick off. Okay, you know, it always starts verbal, and then it gets serious. You know, and this is why the other day you seen all these people, America, Babylon the Great, these other nations and whatnot, were getting these doing these drills because they know, they knew America, Babylon the Great was finna make that move, and they was finna go aid Taiwan militarily, because that's where they're making all the microchips. Okay, they're making them all over there, so they're trying to keep that protected, and this is what's gonna break off this huge war. Okay, so China recently warned the U.S. has crossed the red line with its assistance and support of Taiwan, saying that a storm of legal consequences brewing. So it's brewing. But you gotta remember, the famine of the word has to come. The mark of the beast has to be made. Oh, shalom, Aki, how about Shema, Shabrakatah? To everybody in Atham, to you, brother. It's good seeing you, man. I have to come down there sometime, fellowship with you. Yeah, brother, right here. Yeah, like your call. Yeah, shalom, man. Yeah, we got one of the big bros over there on the comment board at the water for y'all tuning in. But it's talking about basically it's brewing. But remember, like we said, the famine of the word got to come. The MOT got to be made mandatory before this kicks off. So the Lord is still have those doors of mercy open. But once that famine of the word happens, it's it, man. Because we're not going to be out here warning nobody after that. After the Lord, whatever kind of way he makes us stop doing the work, out there on the highways and byways. So the Global Times, a state-run communist newspaper in China, published an op on Thursday criticizing the recent $80 million military financing program the U.S. announced for Taiwan, and said this is their first time doing it. So we know this is something coming. It's something big coming, okay? They don't just put $80 million over there when we going further in debt, okay? They're knowing that this is vital, okay? So announced for Taiwan and said with the increasing number of intensity of its intervention methods, the brewing and imminent storm of legal consequence for Taiwan cannot be ignored. China's strong dissatisfaction and firm opposition are obvious, but China's response to the continuous provocations by the U.S. on the Taiwan question will not be limited to mere statements. Okay, so it's finna go down, man. The remarks come shortly after the Associated Press reported that the U.S. President Joe Biden's administration approved $80 million, right? So when you go look over here, you got a couple other articles talk about it, and I'm gonna just put it in some precepts. It says World War III fears explode as China warns U.S. of imminent storm, right? Lethal consequences over Taiwan. So, China Coast Guard fires water cannon towards Philippines boat. So they starting to really it's really starting to heat up, man. China issued a chilling warning after the President Joe Biden promised military aid for Taiwan. Despite the relatively most $80 million problem, Beijing is being infiltrated by the use of so-called foreign military financing program. The fund typically reserved sovereign, independent states. China sees Taiwan as a renegade province and vows to retake Slovakia, the democratically run island. So they making vows to take back things too. So China's strong dissatisfaction and opposition are obvious, but China's response to the continued provocations by the U.S. on Taiwan question will be limited to mere statements. The paper wrote in an op-ed. It added with the increasing number of intensity of intervention methods and brewing of the imminent storm, lethal consequence for Taiwan cannot be ignored. There was something in it that I seen that I want to point out. The U.S. State Department said the transfer funds will be used to strengthen Taiwan's self-defense capabilities while enhancing maritime awareness and capabilities. In addition to Global Times top Chinese foreign ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin slammed on the moon, referred by Beijing's belief that Taiwan was an unalienable part of China. So now the argument is here. You know, it's something that I wanted to put in there, but I don't want to read too much. It was something when I was reading it earlier, it has a point that I wanted to put out, but you know, we'll just go ahead and get in with the precepts. You know, you can see that, you know, it's finally to that point where this war in Taiwan's finna go down, and we already know that the war in Ukraine and Russia is what's stemming off of that, and that's what's gonna cause us BRIC nations to be, man, we gotta come together if we're gonna take this. You know, we're gonna take the beast. We're gonna take America, Babylon the Great down. You know, so it's basically right now a part of the section of the beast, part of the BRIC nations. You know, because we know a part of the beast system is going to betray America, Babylon the Great in the end. You know, according to Obadiah chapter 1 verse 7. So Ezekiel chapter 28. We're gonna start right here. Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 4. Right. And it reads, with thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. That's talking about America, Babylon the Great, which was the revived Roman Empire. They took all of Solomon's treasure in that time, okay, and they've been passing it down generation to generation, basically to themselves, okay, because we're reincarnated every third or fourth generation back into the earth. Okay, to serve out our judgment, whatever the Lord played for our lot to be in this on this earth. Verse 5: by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, what's traffic? Thou hast increased thy riches, and the heart is lifted up because thine riches. Okay, I want to look up that word. It's about thy traffic, right? Okay, they do all types of trafficking. They even be selling humans, man. And they know. I had another article, J.P. Morgan, they let that dude, I can't remember his name, Jeffrey Epstein or whatever, he funneled $1 billion in there, and it was all all child trafficking, all human trafficking, but they couldn't catch it. Man, come on, man. We know they know what they was doing, man. So by thy traffic and thy traffic, right? Gonna look that up. See what that says. Bear with me.
Strong's H 7404. Rawchaa.
Rawchaa. Merchandise, traffic, trade. See? Trade. You know? And that's what they do, man. Do all that trade through slavery. They used to sell so-called Negroes, man. They used to sell the tribe of Judah around as slaves, man. It's, well, like we know when we came over here on slave ships, Deuteronomy 28:68. So we know this is talking about the so-called white man. We know. So it says, thou increase thy riches, thine heart is lifted up because thy riches. Right? They feel like they're unbeatable. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Yahawah Bahasham, Yahawashi, because thou hast set thine heart, which is their mind, as the heart of the Most High. Right? Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against thy beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. Okay, this is what the Lord's setting up to do to this place. And a lot of them Americans, the Romans, what I would say, these reincarnated Romans are mad about them housing all these foreigners, and they're also giving them jobs over Americans. Okay. Because they're finna be, the Lord setting this up. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas, man. They finna get destroyed, man. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, am I the Most High? But thou shalt be a man. And that's how they think they God. And no power. They ain't Yahawah. In the hand of him that slayeth thee. Right? Verse 10, thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised. What does that mean by uncircumcised? I mean, they don't know the truth, because they heathens. They can't understand the truth. That's why they're going to die the deaths of the uncircumcised. But also 2/3 of our people are going to die with them by the hand of strangers. For I have spoken it, saith the Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. This is Deuteronomy. Chapter 7, verse 21. And it says, thou shalt not be affrighted at them, for the Lord thy God, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, is among you a mighty power and terrible. So we don't need to fear when these things come. When they really come and things happen, we don't need to fear them, because we got Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi with us. You know, no matter what happens, we know that in the end, we're going to be justified for doing this work for Israel, you know, and having faith. You know, because faith without works is dead, so you got to do for both. Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 17. And it reads, for the Lord your power, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, is a power of gods, the Lord of lords, a great power, a mighty and a terrible, which rewardeth not persons, or which regardeth not persons, Salakia, nor taketh reward. You can't bribe the Lord. He's going to do what he set out to do. Verse 18, he doeth execute judgment of the fatherless and widow. And who's the fatherless? Esau, Edom, so-called white man. He said they are bastards and not sons. You see, they are bastards because the Lord is not chastising them. But he also execute judgment on the widow. Who's that? That's the elect. It's all of Israel, but mainly right now the elect, because we're the ones who are even calling back to be, be what's the word I want to put? Rejoined. You could say that, for lack of a better word, rejoined back with the Heavenly Father. Okay, through this regeneration, and loveth the stranger. And who's the stranger? That's the foreign Israelites that look like the other nations, and giving him food and raiment. Okay, so we know the Lord is going to look out for us, especially in that time. He said that we'll laugh at danger, okay, when we see these things coming, because we've been preparing ourselves for that time. So let me do 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 23. And it reads, and what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel, whom the Most High went to redeem for the people to himself, and to make him a name. See, he's coming to get us for his name's sake, and to do for you great things and terrible for thy land, before thy people, which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt, from the nations and their gods. See, so just like he redeemed us last time, he's coming to do the same thing again, after we played out this falling away of the truth first. So verse 24, for thou hast confirmed to thyself thy people Israel to be a people unto thee forever. So that's how we know we never going to be cut off from the Lord, no matter what. No principalities, no strongholds, whatever, slavery, anything in the flesh that's not going to separate us from Yahawah, Bahasham, and thou, Lord, art become their power. So this is what we have hope in, that the Lord promised us that he will redeem us, not just for the promises, but for his name's sake. So this is Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 32. And it reads, now therefore our power, the great, the almighty, and terrible power, Yahawashi, who keep his covenant and mercy. That's part of the covenant, mercy. Let not all the trouble seem little before thee that have come upon us, on our kings, on our princes, and on our priests, and on our prophets, and on our fathers, and on all thy people, since the time of the kings of Assyria unto this day. Still today. Don't take this as a little thing. This is a very serious matter that we're about to witness for the last time. Psalms chapter 47, verse 2, if we there, Lord willing. And it reads, for the Lord Most High is terrible. He is a great king over all the earth. Right? He's going to do some very terrible things, but this is beautiful for Israel because we're hoping through our faith and our works, we will be saved out of it. Psalms chapter 66, verse 5. Come and see the works of the Most High. He is terrible in his doing toward the children of men. And this is how we're able to see his works. Through the internet, through the unicorn, we're able to see the things that he's doing in the earth, man. And we're able to watch them from afar. And this is how it's going to be when those honorable multitude is in the chariots. Okay? And the elect going down there and taking Esau, Edom, and the other nations into slavery. That's what it's going to be like. They're going to get to see from afar. Like this, look at the Lord, man. He's beautifully terrible. It would be terrifying to be on the wrong side. So now we're going to go over here. It said crickets invade Metro shopping center. So this is part of them plagues, man. We're going to watch a little bit.
bunch of creepy critters have invaded a northwest Oklahoma City shopping center.
We first told you about an unusual number of crickets in the sea a couple of weeks ago.
News 4's Austin Brissett talked to shoppers who saw plenty of them before going into the store.
On the ground, up the wall, and even to the ceiling, you can see nothing but crickets here along the entire sidewalk of this northwest Oklahoma City shopping center.
What brought them here? Yeah, why? It's gross.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to drop on me.
A shocking sight for northwest Oklahoma City shoppers Monday morning. Copious amounts of creepy crawling field crickets, and in some areas piles of them, sitting just outside almost every store in this
Every store, man. That's the curses, man.
shopping center near Memorial and Penn.
But there were so many of them.
Both Jenna Jones and Sherry Campbell say they didn't see a ton of them inside, if at all, but the sidewalks outside were obviously another story.
The reason they're everywhere, especially around buildings, is that they're attracted to lights at night. So if you have a building or a porch light, that'll shine, and then the crickets will just fly to it.
Insect diagnostician at Oklahoma State Alex Harmon told News 4 earlier this month that they go through population cycles based off the weather. And if there's extended droughts toward the beginning or the middle of the summer, that's when the population goes up.
If less of the nymphs are killed off by like fungi and predators and things like that during the middle of the summer, then you end up with a lot more adults.
Harmon says it appears there's been more than usual this year, but this is the time of year you see them the most anyway.
But
don't worry.
See how he said it was unusual because they can only know so much. They got their Scientologists and they people and they, they know a little bit, but they don't understand. This is the curses, man, being put on these heathens, man. Just like it happened last time in Egypt. It's the same thing, man. It just looks different because the Lord has reshaped all the elements to play out the same story through fire. Okay, so 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 44, and that's the beautiful thing about it. We can read, the word is like when we read about it, we know this stuff happened to Israel, so it kind of vexes us. It's like, man, we went off and that's what happened to us. But it's also a joy at the same time because we understand this is what's about to happen to them. Okay, and the Lord has granted us an opportunity for this to pass over us. So 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 44, they shall come to her and besiege her, the star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her, and then shall, hold on, I want to go to 49. I won't go that far into it. I don't want to explain that because that's got nothing to do with what the topic is. I want to go to 49. So let's start at 48. It says, thou hast followed her. Who's that? That's America, Babylon the Great, and it's really talking about Asia, but this can relate to anywhere. This next verse, talking about these plagues, that we see him at. So thou hast followed her that has hated all her works and inventions, therefore saith the Most High. Right? And that's why there's that typhoon coming over there too. That's another part of the thing that's the Lord's sending for, destruction and death. So it says, verse 49, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty. And what's the widowhood? All the men gonna get drafted off into World War III, man. Poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy houses with destruction and death, man. And that's what this is coming, man. But it's starting in areas that are unexpected. You at the mall, you got a whole bunch of crickets and bugs everywhere. So that's signs that we know that the Lord's about to put some great wrath, all over. Verse 50, and the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower, and the heat shall arise that is sent over thee. See? And we know it's been real hot lately, and not let alone that, those intercontinental ballistic missiles, man, is going to turn this place into a lake of fire. This is where the lake of fire is. So 2nd Thessalonians, going to do 2nd Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 1. Right? It says, finally, brethren, pray for us that the word of the Lord may have free course, and be glorified, even as it is with you. And that's how we want it. We want the Lord to have, we want this word to come out free course. You know, that's why a lot of times, you know, the elders and apostles, they when they get on there, they don't like people, you know, posting too much stuff, saying too much stuff, because it's the, you know, the Lord has got them doing this particular topic. Not mean you can't post precepts, but they just be mad about the ones who's posting precepts and not doing the work. You're going to post precepts, you need to be doing the work and going to the highways. You know, that's what they're saying. Verse 2, and that we may be delivered from unreasonable and wicked men, for all men have not faith. See, not every man has faith, and we know in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8, it says faith was given by the Most High. So we know that what we have, this faith that we have, is not of us. It was given. Verse 3, but the Lord is faithful, who will establish you. So he's establishing our faith, who will establish you and keep you from evil. And how is he keeping us from evil? By keeping us occupied in prophecy and focused on the times and focusing on things that are pertaining to judgment. Okay, because it said a wise man thinks of death. Okay, we think about these things on a regular basis because we don't want to get caught in the crossfire of those people who are being judged. Exodus chapter 9, verse 14. And it reads, for I will at this time send my plagues upon thine heart, which is thine mind, and upon thy servants and upon thy people, and thou shalt know that there is none like me in all the earth. And that's what happened last time. That's what happened. And when we was out there, okay? When we was out there in Egypt and we went through these things, we seen all this stuff. And now we're seeing it again. This is us reading it all over again for these last judgments, man. These last judgments that are going to go out to the earth. You know, it's the same story, just gonna go by fire instead of everybody getting drowned this time. And there's gonna be more people getting saved, a mass amount of people compared to the 8 people that were saved last time with Noah. So Revelation chapter 22 verse 18, for I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add to these things, the Most High shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. So all the people, even the ones that, you know, think that they just saying whatever, they saying little whatever, that's going against the contrary of the doctrine of Great Millstone, this is what's going to happen to those people, man. The plagues are going to be received unto them. He going to add them to the plagues. And that's why it's very, very important that you're teaching the right doctrine, man. Because there's been a lot of false prophets that have went out to the world. They don't understand that they mark themselves to be plagued, man, and put in a situation, you know, of death. At least they repent. But you can't to Israel. So, you know, they putting themselves in a deep hole, man, that cannot be undone, okay, without repentance and without the Lord's strength and his power. Because we can't even have the mind to have faith that he gonna come save us after all the things that we've all made mistakes on. So Jeremiah chapter 14 verse 12, when they fast, I will not hear their cry. And people calling on Jesus Christ, all them people who saying, you know, the great millstone ain't the prophets, those people, man, they not gonna hear, the Lord's not gonna hear their cry. And when they offer burnt offering and oblation, I will not accept them, but I will consume them by the sword and by famine and by pestilence, man. And that's what's coming to all these people, man. They're starting out small, you know, they like, oh, I won't go shopping, there's a bunch of crickets everywhere. But hey, that shit's gonna get bad. So while that's going on, we got Biden over here. He asking for $1.4 billion for SNAP benefits as the U.S. faces potential government shutdown, right? And while he's doing that, this lady right here, which I don't know, you know, how she got this much power to just be like, I'm gonna shut down the government, but she's saying, you know, Major Retailer Green, impeach Biden now or I'll shut down the government. Okay, and she's part of the GOP, so, you know, obviously she's probably not moving on her own power, but this is what they saying. They saying, y'all better put Trump in there or we gonna shut down the whole government. And Biden's over here fighting it. Okay, So we'll just read a little bit of this and then a little bit of that. So the federal government could be headed toward a shutdown at the end of September. So we got about 30 days to find out if this bitch gonna even be running, man. The White House said on August 31st that the Congress should pass a short-term measure to fund the government and ensure it continues to operate. But it seems like this lady, she's the one who's gonna fund it. And she said, if y'all don't fucking fix shit and put Trump there, we're shutting it down. Okay, so it's getting closer to a point where they gonna remove this motherfucker. Okay, and she was even talking about another article. She said, impeach, or I think that's what she said too. Yeah, she got to impeach him. She said, get him the fuck out of here, or I'm not giving you no bread. So he asking for bread, and she said, no, I'm not giving you none. So after the end of the current fiscal year, the Washington Post reported that the government runs out of money on September 30th. This could trigger a shutdown that jeopardizes numerous federal programs, which is like what? Getting your damn trash picked up, them, cleaning up the highways whenever it snows real bad. That's all government funded things, man. And they almost out of money. They ain't gonna be able to pay their workers. So what that mean? They ain't nobody gonna go to work. So this could trigger a shutdown. Talking about police officers, firemen, all that shit. That means that's done with, okay? So it could trigger a shutdown that jeopardizes numerous federal programs, including the supplemental nutrition assistance program. So that's going to get shut down too. They'll be looking about food stamps, which millions of Americans rely on. And Biden administration has requested an additional $1.4 billion to prevent a potential interruption in food assistance for low-income families. And he's doing that, why? Because he's trying to get them prepped. That's like one of them incentives. Like, look, we did all this for you. Now it's about to run out. You have to take the seat here. Okay, that's one of their incentives that they're trying to bring across to keep you comfortable here. And we don't want to be all the way comfortable here like that, because we know that that's going to lead us to our destruction, man. We coming out of this place. So I want to read a little bit of the other one. We know that we got 30-some days for everything closed down. So we're going to see what she talked about. She said, I'll shut down the government. She said, I don't give a fuck about none of that. So let's see what this damn devil talking about. It says, Marjorie Taylor Greene says she's drawing the line in the sand. Though her ally, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, is trying to rally the confidence around a short-term funding measure to avoid a government shutdown this fall, the far-right Georgia Republican told, and the Republicans, they the ones that got the bread, constituents Thursday that she wouldn't sign on any such measure unless he formally moves to impeach Joe Biden, man. President Joe Biden. I will not vote to fund the government unless we have passed on an impeachment inquiry on Biden, Green told the town hall audience, adding that she would not support continuing resolution that includes funding for Biden's regime weaponized government, COVID vaccines, or Ukraine's defense against the Russian invasion. I will be happy to work with all my colleagues. I will work with the Speaker of the House. I will work with everyone, she said, but I will not fund those things. So this is the separation, okay? And this is the Lord showing also in prophecy. These women having great power to do these kind of things, man. So we're going to read up a little bit of it. This is Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. She said, I ain't giving y'all shit. I want Trump in there. That's basically what she's saying. Okay? And we got a lot of our people, got Jake calling for Trump because he want his little $1,000 stimulus package. So this is Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord Yahawah Yahawashi have created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. Okay? And that they're having this great authority to where even the president got to ask her ass for money. Okay? That's all the way off. Okay? But it isn't at the same time, because it's meant for the destruction of America, Babylon the Great. Because it's dividing America to where they can't stand, man. And at the same time, you got China over there like, yeah, man, y'all done fucked up. You done put $80 million over there in Taiwan, and it's finna go down. That's why she's like, I'm not funding that shit no more, because that shit's fucking up shit, and you about to get us destroyed. Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 43, the king of Babylon, which we know is Esau, Edom, so-called white man, have heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble, anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. And that's how they are right now, okay? Because they hearing the prophets breaking this stuff down, because they do a diligent search. They know that we teaching this word. Some of them come and watch, all right? And they terrified, man. These devils terrified, because they know that the ones that they said that we 3/5 of a man, we down here and explaining their destruction, man, and that they going into slavery. So they not feeling good right now, okay? They like, fuck. But then you got, you know, a majority of them, they still think this. Psalms chapter 49 verse 11, their inward thought is, and when it talks about those ones who the king of Babylon, that's talking about the elites, man. The Rothschilds and them, they like, fuck. Okay, they over there in old Babylon, which is in Iraq right now, and ducked off like, damn, there ain't no way we getting out of this shit. Psalm chapter 49 verse 11, this is the inward thought of the Americans, right? Of the Roman Empire, revived Roman Empire. Their inward thought is their house shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names, and that's what you know they doing right now. They thinking that, you know, they straight. Most people here thinking it's finna be good, man. They think that this shit just gonna keep going on, man. And 2/3 of our people still think that too, man. But they're gonna find out. It's definitely not going to. So this is Malachi chapter 1 verse 14. It says, but cursed be the deceiver, which have in his flock a male, and vowed and sacrifices unto the Lord a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, saith the Lord of hosts, Yahawashi, and my name is dreadful among the heathen. That's why they won't call on the name of Yahawashi. And that's why you even got some jakes, they might even be damn tares, okay? Esau, Edom's babies, because they too terrified to call on the name of Yahawashi, okay? So, there's some that ain't, they just not doing it, but it's just something to think about. You know, they both are in that same boat of being terrified of that name, man. They not gonna call on the name of Yahawashi. They gonna call on Biden to get ass more food stamps. So we're gonna go over here. It says hundreds of flights canceled as Hong Kong and parts of China. And what did it say? What did it say when we was looking at 2nd Esdras chapter 15? It was talking about because China wanted to be just like America, Babylon the Great. He was going to send what? Famine, plagues, all types of pestilence. He's going to send death, man. So this is what he's talking about. Hundreds of flights canceled as Hong Kong and parts of China brace super typhoon Saola. Okay. Says most of Hong Kong and southern China ground near a standstill on Friday, with flights canceled and schools closed as powerful super typhoon Saola closed in. Many workers stayed at home and trading on Hong Kong stock market as expected, while authorities mainland China halted all trains entering or leaving Guangdong province. Hong Kong Observatory issued a number 10 hurricane signal, the highest warning under the city's weather system, and the first of that strength since the super typhoon Mangnut or something. Magnahut, Slovakia, in 2018. So the Lord's been sending those plagues, man. It ain't been too long. And another one's coming over there, man. The Lord's steadily sending his wrath, man. So while that's going on, Las Vegas got hit by another flash flood due to a severe monsoon just the other day. So we're gonna watch a little bit of this, and then we're gonna get into some
Bro, I've been trying to make it to work. I'm stuck here. Look, car stuck in
here in Vegas.
Part of the Las Vegas Strip floods after heavy rain. At least one driver was evacuated from his vehicle after a severe thunderstorm caused flash.
Lock it, that's too loud.
Others abandoned their vehicles. More rain is expected through Saturday. A strong summer monsoon thunderstorm triggered flash floods in parts of Las Vegas Friday morning. Heavy rains turned roads into lakes, leaving several vehicles stranded or submerged in the flooded roads.
Damn through, man.
Friday morning brought total rainfall to over 0.50 to 1.00 inches. The National Weather Service issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Las Vegas and other parts of southern Nevada, warning residents of high winds, light hail and heavy rain.
Shit, throwing trash cans and shit, man. You know what I'm saying, man? You could be, this could be a daily situation for you, you know? You're gonna need Bahasham to bring you through that, man. You know, there's some of the elect out there, and they're dealing with that right now, but the Lord is taking care of them, man. Okay, the elect of all, we don't know who the elect are, but we know they already been sealed, man. The Lord's not gonna put them through none of this, but hey, man. The Lord's sending these plagues, man. Yeah. It ain't playing over there, man. Nobody going to the casino tonight. But, you know, that's just a little bit showing these storms that the Lord's doing on a regular basis. We're going to go back over here to Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 21. And we know he going to keep doing it because why? Because 2/3 is never going to repent, man. So he's going to keep doing this until everything is destroyed. Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 24. But thus saith the Lord Yahawah Bahasham, Rawchaa, how much more when I send my four sword judgments upon Jerusalem, which is us. Okay, all of Israel, we're Jerusalem. Because we were cast out, so it's a people first before a place. The sword and the famine and the noise of beast and the pestilence to cut off from it man and beast. And he just go say, how much more? Y'all ain't gonna repent? All right. He gonna jack it up. But 2/3 of our people, he's doing that to them to where they can't understand and repent because they crucify Yahawashi and they gotta pay for it. They can't be let in this ark, okay, which is his truth. Okay, they can't be let in to be able to be saved. Okay? And we don't know if we're going to get saved. It says that those that do it to the end shall be saved in Matthew. But they don't even got a chance. 2/3 of our people have already been written. You're going to die on this side, but you're going to come back in the kingdom. Okay? Through the 1/3. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent for scourges as amendment. See, the Lord he is doing this to amend his covenant. He's here to amend and get revenge and payback, man. And I was listening to Apostle Har earlier the other day, and he said because I was talking about the other day about what Elder Manasseh Zabba said about the spirits of Esau Edom when they're destroyed, they might come back as the other nations, but you know, I like what Apostle Har said about it too. He was like, doesn't even come to mind. I don't care what the fuck happens to him. I just want him to be fucking gone. You know, I agree with both of them. I agree that it doesn't really matter. We just don't want to be them. You know, but if you're one of them, you can't even do this. You can't even be in this truth. Okay, you won't believe it. Okay, because it says they dread the name of the Lord. They will not be in this truth, and if they try to come in this truth, they get exposed. Okay, because they don't have the spirit of Jake. Man. They're not us. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 15. And it reads, because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, right? Shalom. We have made a covenant with death and with hell. Are we at agreement? When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood we have hid ourselves. And that's what 2/3 of our people did, man. They made a covenant with Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Them 5031C teachers, you know, other people who are just, you know, taking the bag and they're only focusing on that. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Yahawah Bahasham, behold, I lay in Zion, which is Israel, for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. See, we're not going to be all panicky and shit, because we got Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. So he say, lay the precious cornerstone. See, that's in the Old Testament too. That's showing you that Yahawashi was spoken of many times before he came on the scene. Okay, his whole thing. That's the whole point of the whole seed line. But he basically had to bring himself in. Okay, when you really get into the deeper understanding of the scriptures, man, he ain't gonna let nobody take his glory. He did everything for his kingdom. There ain't nothing no regular man done did without his aid. Okay, or he did it his damn self. Okay, many times he came back, you know. So Job chapter 5 verse 21, thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. And that's what we hoping. We hoping we're not in the middle of this destruction. And if we are, we're not going to be afraid, because we got the Spirit of the Lord with us. Okay, so now we're going to go over here. I just got a couple more and then I'm out. It says nearly 2,000 pounds of ground beef products were called after testing finds E. coli. So this is another reason why we want to be praying over our food and stuff too, man. So we don't know what they doing to this shit, man. They're not giving no account to really how this food is, man. They just find out after somebody gets sick as hell. So Ezekiel chapter 4 verse 13. And it reads, and the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their bread, their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whether I will drive them. So everywhere we are, this food is contaminated, man. But this is something else. This is why we hope to be part of the elect. Mark chapter 6 verse 18. And it reads, let me get down there. I'm going to read it in the NLT too. Where is it at? Hold on, give me 1 second. Yeah, Mark chapter 6 verse 18. Gotta go down a little bit. Where? What was it? 16 verse 18. That's where I gotta go. Alright, so give me a second. Alright. So this is why we want to always pray, you know, to the Lord over our food and things like that, you know, because it mess around and be something bad. But if you're the elect, the Lord will make it where it don't even hurt you. They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. And back then, you know, they were doing that. You know, the prophets were doing that. But now, you know, that recovering is through our minds. Okay, through this word. You know, but the Lord, if anything, you do have some type of sickness or something, the Lord, if you're the elect, you're not going to die from that, man. You're going to recover. And if you do end up dying from a sickness, which we know is demons, you know, then it might just been your lot to die in this truth. That doesn't mean that you're not of the Lord. You know, that was just, you know, the Lord's thoughts is not our thoughts. So we just look at it as, hey, man, you know, some of us gotta go through certain things. But when it happens, you know, you got to remember you're going to be the first one risen up with the rest of the ones who died over here on this side in the truth. So it's still not a bad thing. You know, they just sleep right now. So Mark chapter 16, verse 18, the NLT, they will be able to handle snakes with safety. And if they drink anything poisonous, it won't hurt them. They will be able to place their hands on the sick. They will be healed. So, you know, always, you know, do prayer over things before you eat them. There's some simple Hebrew prayers that you can do. You know, just you know, says pray about everything, really. You know. So it says 2 major banks are set to close this fall after sending customers letters as threat of layoffs looms. So it says 2 major banks have announced closures in branches in Sheboygan. I don't even know where that is. Oh yeah, Wisconsin. This fall. The losses follow a number of bank closures across the nation as CEO warns the walk-in branches have become inordinate. Wells Fargo is to close over 100 locations across the country. Customers in Sheboygan received letters warning them of upcoming closures, and this is coming in the fall. So letters went out to customers warning the upcoming closures of a bank drive-through in Wells Fargo Bank in the Wisconsin city, located about 5 miles of Milwaukee. The U.S. bank location will close on October 11th. Wow, and that's coming up. And what it is what the government might be shut down by then. So they already know this shit's getting messed up, but they want chaos. They want panic so they can issue in this karama. Okay, while the Wells Fargo branch will shutter on November 1st. The U.S. Bank District Leader Matthew Bahasham said that the letter to customers banking preferences and behaviors are changing, influencing how and where we operate. As a result, we are consolidating some of our physical locations. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And it also says 24 other U.S. bank locations are set to close across the country, according to the weekly U.S. Office of Comptroller of the Currency Bulletins posted since July. So it's a lot of banks shutting down, man. A lot of banks shutting down. It's a lot of the infrastructure being taken out. Okay, so this is Ecclesiastes. These are the last 2 precepts and I'm out. So Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3. And it reads, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, talking about that work, because they are few. Why? Because of draft. Those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All these damn whack-ass rappers they got right now. All the other people, you know, musicians and artists and Hollywood actors and all that shit's gonna cease, man. Verse 5. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be burdened, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Verse 6, or ever the silver cord be loosed, the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern, right? Because it's going to be great, you know, it's going to be great death, man. All right? It ain't going to be too many men left out here, nothing. Okay? Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it. And that's how we know there ain't nobody going to hell forever. Because if there was, it's saying nobody ain't going to a place where you burn forever in hell, because this is hell, man. We know this. But, you know, this is just to prove that, you know, these churches is going off, man. You go back to Yahawah, Bahasham, and Yahawashi, whether you wicked or you righteous, and you got to play out your judgment after you go to the throne of Yahawah, Bahasham, and Yahawashi. And we know this next time it's going to be these heathens going into slavery. This is Isaiah chapter 7, verse 23. And it will come to pass in that day of judgment, that every place shall be where there were 1,000 vines and 1,000 silverlings, it shall be for briars and thorns, man. It's going to be through. It's going to be nothing else left. So with arrows and with bows, men shall come hither, because all the land shall become briars and thorns. So it's going to be, you know, people searching houses with swords, people killing each other for food because there ain't a lot of food left. But we're not going to be making haste like that. We're not going to be doing nothing like that. We're going to keep our minds spiritual, and we're going to wait on Bahasham, Yahawashi. He's going to tell us what to do. So Lord willing, was edifying to the flock. Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian Haitians, and the foreign Israelites that look like the other nations scattered across the four corners of the earth. I want to give all praise to Barak, Yahawashi. Barak, Yahawashi. Got to give all praise to Yahawah, Bahasham, Bahasham, Qadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone led me to the truth. Been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the elect, to the hopeful elect. Lord willing to be part of that number. Lord willing to be edifying those who fear in the name of the Lord and striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. Judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 5, it is not slack. 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 9 is unto a ring. 2 Ezra chapter 5 verse 42. So Lord willing was edifying to the flock. The water, everybody tuning in. Bahasham, Barak, Atham. Wow, ball. Lord won't be able to, go and worship Bahasham, Yahawashi yet another day, and stay occupied in these prophecies to exalt the name of Bahasham, Yahawashi. Shalom.